So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and this is the Ugly Duckling. It's no pretty. Look at this thing, it's god awful ugly. This is the new tier 8 French heavy tank, the AMX 65T. Came in with the new patch 9.21 and is the starting line of this new tech tree. Let's just have a look here. So currently, well, previously you went from the M445 into the auto-loading heavy tanks. Now there is a separate branch that heads up round here, so you get the AMX 65 ton, then the AMX M451 and the AMX M454. So what's it about? Well, basically this tech tree is all about armour and single shot guns. So this is the nature of these French tanks. They are comparatively well armoured. I kind of think like the Liberté. The Liberté was the model really for these versions. So they're all thick frontal armour, thick frontal turret armour, pretty poor rest of the armour, and a pretty decent gun. And they have some interesting compromises on the guns. So we'll get into that in a second. So first of all, let's have a look at the AMX. In terms of grind, it's not too horrendous. You start with this 90mm gun. Really you need to get this 100mm. Now I would argue this is the better gun anyway. The standard turret is pretty acceptable. 250 armour as opposed to 250 armour on this one. It's actually slightly better on the side of the turret as well, 120 and 60 at the rear, as opposed to the main sort of upgraded turret, which is not quite so good. So, you know, 250, 80, 60. But you do get quicker turret reverse, so 26 degrees per second with that top turret, and only 23 with this one. You also get another 20 meters of view range, 350 versus 370. So it's worth upgrading, and indeed you have to get onto the tier 9 anyway. So you don't need to get this top gun, and I would suggest that actually you probably don't want this top gun. So we'll come to that in a second. So the grind, otherwise, the radio, well, nobody really cares about the radio, but if you've unlocked any of the French tanks, you'll have this radio automatically. I mean, look at it's the same radio that goes on all these different variants, so chances are you've got that already. The engine, top engine, you will need to get a little bit, because this thing is a bit sluggish. So but it's on the AMX M451, so when you get past it you will basically get a top engine, which is useful. And you will need the tracks. As ever, the upgrading tracks is needed to increase the load from 63 tons to, what's that, 72. So certainly to put the top turret, you will need these extra tracks. You could probably get away, just have a look at the gun weights, you probably can get away without the tracks to get the second gun, but you will certainly need it for the turret and the engine. So anyway, what's Ugly Betty like? Well, it's a really good, strong, heavy tank. I really enjoyed it. I thought when I played this on the test server, it was underwhelming, shall we say. I mean, I enjoyed the gun, but it wasn't particularly fantastic. Now it's on the live server, it seems to have come to life a bit. And primarily that's because of the guns. So let's have a look at the guns. There are 3 guns on this thing. 90mm, which is your starting gun. There we go. Then the 100mm, which is the second gun, and then the top gun, inverted commas, the 120mm. So even the standard 90mm gun is pretty effective. Has 8.82 rounds per minute, 212 base penetration, 259 if you use APCR, and 240 average damage, which is okay for a stock gun. That's not bad. 0.38 accuracy and aim time is not outstanding, but 2.3. So it's an okay standard gun. The gun that I would argue actually is the preferential gun anyway is the second gun, and you can unlock that really easily. So 100mm, 6.45 rounds per minute, 232 penetration with standard rounds, 263 with skill rounds, only 300 average damage, and that's where the top gun wins out, but has a very commendable dispersion of 0.34, and aim time is a little bit slow at 3. But this tank can take a vertical stabilizer, so that helps the aim time considerably. So the alternative gun is this 120mm. So you lose a lot of firepower. You drop from 6.45 to 4.35 rounds per minute. You also lose penetration. The 120 has worse penetration, only 218 and 252 with its skill rounds. However, you get 400 alpha. So 300 to 400. I found the second gun, the 100mm, far better than the 120, just because of that. Also, the dispersion is worse, 0.36 as opposed to 0.34 on the 100mm. However, bizarrely, the aim time is better, so you can aim better, but your accuracy is going to be worse on the 120. When you hit, you're going to do 100 more damage on average, but hitting is harder and the penetration is not so good. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, right? As I say, I played a few games in both, and I prefer the 100mm, and that's a trend I have actually going through the rest of the line. I think the stock or second gun, in my mind, is better than the standard gun. So let's look at some of the other stats on this thing. Gun depression is -8, which is a little disappointing actually. I'm sure when it was on the test server it was -10. -8 is, you could just do that extra little bit. It's amazing how many times you come over a hill, and you just need that little bit more. But the turret's good, so you know it is a good ridge warrior when you get the chance to use it. I've got a pretty good crew on it. Well, actually no, this is a fresh crew I started when I knew this line was coming. I've put the girl that I got as compensation as the commander. The rest of them are on their first crew skill, but I'm getting, and with a gun ram and vents, I'm getting 2,294 average damage per minute, and dispersion down to 0.32, aim time of 2.81. So pretty good, pretty good. And the gun is one of the nice things about this tank. Hit points wise, 1,550, which is I think about 50 more than the average. So pretty good there. The hull armour is 100, 80 and 60, and you can see it's got that sort of beak affair that is common with the AMXs in the auto-loading line, and it's reasonably bouncy. We'll have a look in a minute at Tanks GG at the armour profile. Turret is very, very good, 250, and look at the front of that, and look at the angling. If you're poking over a hill, that's even more accentuated. And 80 and 60, that's with the top turret. However, you have this great big commander's hatch which says shoot me here. So anyway, let's hop over to Tanks GG and look at it in a bit more detail. So here we are on Tanks GG. This is the collision model for the 65 ton. So you can see the lower plate is actually surprisingly good. It is 200mm even straight on. That 100mm of frontal armour, even at the front here, is 150 without any angling. There's a weak spot here under the gun. Also, as you go underneath the actual gun, its canopy itself, that's pretty weak as well. But round the sides here, look at that, 250, 250, top here 230. Pretty good armour values for a tier 8 heavy, although the big, well, it's not as weak as it looks actually. That's weird. I thought that was much worse. It's actually 200 there. 200. Now the problem is, of course, if you're poking over the top, everyone can see this thing. Makes it easier to pen, but that's not bad values. So if we can get some angling doing. Now the problem, of course, with the angling of the hull of this thing is it has that sort of mini beak. Which means that the more you angle like this, the flatter it gets as you're firing at it. So that's only 120, whereas when I look at it straight on, it's nearly 150. So you've got to be really conscious of that. Likewise, if you are looking down on target, I mean, look at that, 280 auto bounce there on that turret. So you will bounce a lot of things in it. Side armour, yeah, not particularly great. So That's its weakness. But that's kind of the model of all these French heavy tanks in this new line. Very, very good frontal armour, particularly on the turret, but also on the hull actually is also very good armour. But the sides and rear are garbage, which means side scraping is out. You really need to get into a position where you can hide the hull and just have your frontal turret poking out, in which case you'll do well with this thing. So I find the armour actually surprisingly bouncy, and I actually quite enjoy it. It does bounce shells. I bounce tier 10 shells in it quite regularly, if they don't manage to hit this cupola. So it weighs 65 tons, has a 1100 horsepower engine with the top engine, gives it a power ratio of 16.87, and it feels a little sluggish. Top speed is only 40. I don't think the ground resistances are great, and I do find it I'd love it a little bit more speed in it, but you know, hey, you can't have everything. 27 degrees per second traverse speed is also not too bad. Concealment, well, it's big and it's a heavy, so you know, even with a bit of camo on there, it's 5%. Yeah, nothing really to write home about. Spotting range, we said it's 380. I'm getting 383 with this crew. Actually no, it's not 380, it must be 370, sorry. 370 is standard. I have recon and events which get me another 13 to 383. And signal range is 800, but nobody ever cares about that. So all round, it's it's surprisingly good heavy tank, and one I've greatly enjoyed playing. Although my win rate's dropped just recently in it, but I don't know why that is. But I'm averaging what's that, about 1100, 1200 damage per game, and enjoying it immensely. But let's take it out and play a few games. So here we go. We got Airfield tier 9 game, which isn't so bad. Lots of heavies, that's for sure. First time I took this tank out, I think it was on this map actually, everybody was driving on looking at me, okay, and saying in the chat, how ugly is that tank? And it is god awful ugly. Look at it, only your mother would love that thing. And you can see it's not the fastest to get away from the blocks, it really isn't. It's a little bit tardy, but it's a heavy tank, right? So you have to bear that in mind. It is a heavy tank. So I'm going to try and use some of this gun depression. And ooh, I just spotted a lightweight there. There is no artillery, which is nice. Scorpion G out there. Rebelize out there. Let's see if we can get a shot on this Scorpion G. There we go, look at the gun. Oh sugar, they're all round behind us. Already. Took 2 penetrating hits there, that wasn't good. Block that shot. Here you go, this is the problem, you have to get down so far to... So I'm finding the gun depression just isn't quite enough. Oh, crikey, he's coming around. He's got good gun depression, but just not quite enough. The gun is brilliant. Surprisingly pokey. Lemon spokey. Look at the bounces. I can't get... I am all alone here now, pretty much. Damnation. He penned me. And just that's that. If I had 10 degrees of gun depression, that'd be lovely at that point. Scorpion G above us. Just trying to keep these guys spotted, really. Keep them honest. Ah, somebody's just wrecked the Patriot. That's good. Need that guy to go, and then I can push up on the hill. Just can't get the gun down. Makes a change from trying to get it up, huh? I just can't. I'm just keeping him interested, really. He wants to finish me off. I can understand. But you can see there's a bat chap moving around behind him. Behind that WZ anyway. Time these guys down nicely. I want to push, but I can't. Good, he's down. Good, good, good. WZ down. Oh, he got me! Firing friggin' heat. Jesus. Ah! Oh well. But, you know, you can see that the accuracy of the gun is phenomenally good. Penetration values are very, very good indeed. I like the tank. I just wish it had another 2 degrees of gun depression, because trying to poke over those hills is kind of tough. I bet this is premium versus premium, don't you? Oh, we just suffered a big old hole, the bat chat. Still. He's on a reload, you can see. He's running away. WZ can steal the kill. There we go, good job. Only a lightweight left for the win. Nice. So I am enjoying this Ugly Betty. It's a really nice tank. The gun depression is a slight issue for me. 8 degrees rather than 10. I'd love it to be 10. But 8 degrees is okay. It's just in those kind of scenarios like we're in there, where I'm trying to poke over the hill, and I just can't get the gun down low enough to take them on, and that's a real shame. Other than that, I think it's a really, really nice tank. The gun accuracy is fabulous, and the penetration of the second gun, the 100mm, is very, very good indeed. So how do we do? Takes its time. Okay, so we got a third class out of that, and bruiser. Middle of the pack, 1191 damage, 725 base XP, 7 shots, hit with 5, penned with 4. Blocked 1500 damage, which was pretty good, and that was largely, what did we block? WZ, we blocked a heat shell from him before the one went through us. We blocked the lightweight and the 26E4. Difficult to know credit rating because of the bonuses going with a traditional Christmas thing, but well, 10,500 I would have made with a standard account, and 1,100 or so XP for the crew, so not too bad, and that was just an averagey poor game really. So let's try it again, see what else we can do. Okay, this time a tier 10 game on fjords. Lots of heavies. I'm not going to go and fight out with the heavies because I'm just not good enough. So I'm going to push up round here, which may be a mistake because I'm a bit slow. But I'd rather fight mediums with this thing. in a tier 10 game. I7 is going to be problematic. T10 will pen me fairly easily. Anything is very slow. Oh, good, we lost the light tank already. This map is getting a rework, but it really needs a rework. I don't think it's very friendly if you're a top tier heavy, because you can go and brawl down that J line, and lights are kind of good in this map, but if you're bottom tier heavy, it's not very good, and TDs can just sit where our Scorpion is down there on the peninsula, and it gets a bit static really. Okay, so we got up. See if we can use our turret armour to effect here. Back chat's gone. Prototype out there. Missed. That was a hit. Spotted by something. Can't do anything about it at the moment because I can't see anything. Someone fired at me. Not very effectively, but they fired. There's an IS-3 out there somewhere. Oh, there's the IS-3. Can't see it now, can I? Wasted. Prototype just hit me too. Missed. Nah. Tough to hit that range. Come on, turn on, side on. That's better. Nice of you, thank you. Ah, then he appears, of course. Six all. Tight match. Wander back a bit. There we go. Missed. Good, he's down. Always the same, and you give it a big I am about the big hoo-ha about how great the gun is, managed to miss shots that really should have hit. It's a tight game still. I think I can take one hit from him, that bat chat. Take more damage than me. Okay, the bat chats are right around there. Damn. Might have to go for a skill round here. Missed. Damnation. Got him though. Ah, missed him. Yeah, he got me. Damn. Ah! Hope for the tracking shot and bloody didn't get it. Oh, we might still win. Nice. Yes, we win. Nice. Hold on, boys. We got it. Good job. Whoa, that was close. So, yeah, there you go. You see, 65 ton. I like it. I really, really like it. I like it much more than I thought I was going to. Oh, some boxes as well. Good, good, good. So no, nothing special there. Fire for Effect and Bruiser finished up. Actually finished 5th on the team. So 1800 damage, 1 kill, 667 damage. So base XP, 16 shots, only hit with 9 and penned with 7. Blocked 1300. So you do block damage. It's amazing how many times you do. 32,000 credits, but I would have lost quite a lot because I did fire a couple of premium shells which are expensive, and 1200 experience. So just get rid of that. So there you go, that's the Ugly Betty, and I really enjoying this tank, more than I expected to. I played 20 games in it now. I've played it with the top gun supposedly, but I still think this second gun, the 100mm, is more effective. I use the gun rammer, vents and what's that, vertical stabilizers, because I think any time you can have vertical stabilizers is a good thing. And it may be ugly, but it's kind of fun to play. So there you go, Shock Horror Pro. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And let me know what you think about the French tanks. Have you played any of them? Looking forward to them. Don't see as many out there as I was expecting to. I think people are not so interested in the non-auto-loading variety than maybe I was expecting, but I think they're a good line. I enjoy it a lot. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously. It is just a damn game, and I'll see you again soon. This is Gamer Dom signing out.